Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down big ideas. Today, we're diving into one of the most important intellectual clashes of the 20th century. This wasn't just a disagreement, it was a battle for the very soul of science.
So in one corner, you've got Thomas Kuhn. He argued that science moves forward through community agreement and these big, sudden, revolutionary shifts. And in the other corner, you have Karl Popper, who believed that real progress only comes from constant, relentless criticism, from trying to prove our best ideas wrong. These two powerful views, as you can see, are almost polar opposites, and they completely changed how we think about what knowledge even is.
And look, this was way more than just some stuffy academic squabble. It was a fundamental fight over how we discover truth itself, a debate that was really shaped by the wild times they lived in, from world wars to clashing ideologies. What's wild is that they only really faced off in public one time, at this big conference in London back in 1965. But that one event and the powerful books they wrote created these two competing visions for how science should work that we are still grappling with today. Okay, so let's dig into Thomas Kuhn's way of seeing things. His whole philosophy really revolves around one powerful central concept, the paradigm.
So what's a paradigm? Well, for Kuhn, it's basically the entire shared worldview of a scientific community. It's the accepted theories, the tools they use, the unspoken rules of the game. He argued that most of the time, scientists aren't actually trying to make revolutionary breakthroughs. They're just working inside this established box. He gave this a name, normal science. And he had this great analogy for it. It's like puzzle solving. Think about it. When you're doing a jigsaw puzzle, you're not trying to invent a new picture. You're just trying to fit the pieces into the image on the box. And this quote just perfectly nails his point. Progress during these long stretches of normal science isn't about some grand new discovery. It's about meticulously filling in the details of an existing map. You're just fleshing out the blueprint. So here's the kicker. For Kuhn, the big leaps in science don't happen gradually. They happen in these huge, dramatic explosions. You've got your normal science, the puzzle solving, chugging along. But then anomalies start to pop up, puzzles that just won't fit no matter how hard you try. Enough of those and you get a crisis. Confidence in the old way of seeing things just collapses. And the only way out? A full-blown scientific revolution where a brand new paradigm takes over.
All right, let's flip the coin and talk about Karl Popper. He had a completely different vision. He wasn't interested in working inside the box. He was obsessed with how to break it.
Popper started with a really fundamental question. How can you tell the difference between a genuinely scientific theory, like Einstein's theory of relativity, and something that just looks like science, like, say, astrology? And his answer was this incredibly elegant and powerful idea, falsifiability. It's simple, really. A theory is only scientific if it makes a bold claim that could actually be proven wrong. It has to stick its neck out and risk being chopped off by evidence. Now, this completely flips the traditional view of science on its head. Popper said the job of a scientist isn't to be a theory's cheerleader, gathering evidence to support it. No, the scientist's job is to be its harshest critic. A theory's real strength comes from surviving every attempt we make to destroy it. So for Popper, science is basically a state of permanent revolution. It's this open, endless, critical conversation where no idea is ever sacred. And it's this process, this constant cycle of bold ideas and harsh criticism that lets us inch our way closer and closer to the truth, even if we know we can never be 100% sure we're there. So you have these two titans with these two completely different visions of science. How did this whole thing play out, and what's the lasting impact on how we see the world? This table just lays it out so clearly, doesn't it? For Kuhn, the average scientist is a conformist, a dedicated problem solver working within the lines. For Popper, the ideal scientist is a revolutionary, always challenging the rules. For Kuhn, progress happens in big, sudden jumps. For Popper, it's this constant, grinding, critical process. Just totally different worlds. And you can see on this timeline how it all built up. They had a brief meeting in 1950, and then bam, in 62 and 63, their huge, game-changing books come out almost back to back. You can just feel the tension building, can't you? And it all culminates in that legendary showdown in London in 1965, the moment that really cemented their rivalry in history. But you know how it goes. Over time, these really deep, complex ideas tend to get flattened into simple cartoons.
People started painting Kuhn as some kind of total relativist who thought any theory was as good as another, and Popper as this cold, robotic rationalist who didn't care about the human side of science. But the truth is, their real ideas were so much richer and more nuanced than that.
Okay, so this was a debate from the 1960s. Why should we care about it today? Well, the truth is, this old philosophical argument might be more relevant now than it ever was.
Seriously, this isn't just for philosophers. Think about it. Every time you hear someone say, trust the science, this debate is lurking right under the surface. Are they asking us to trust Kuhn's idea of a stable, consensus-driven paradigm? Or should we be following Popper's lead and critically questioning every single claim, no matter who it comes from? This exact tension is at the heart of everything, from debates about public health policy to how we tackle climate change.
And in the end, their whole epic disagreement really boils down to this one final question. Is knowledge like a building, a structure that we are slowly but surely completing, just like Kuhn's blueprint? Or is it more like a distant horizon that we can never actually reach, but can only get closer to by constantly proving where it isn't? The struggle for the soul of science continues, and now you've got the tools to think about it for yourself.